Have you ever left a conversation feeling completely normal only to replay it over and over for the rest of the day? Maybe someone didn't text back as quickly as they usually do. Maybe you remember saying something that was slightly cringy. Maybe you reread your own text messages 5+ times to figure out if you sounded rude or annoying. Or maybe you're comparing today's response time to how quickly they usually reply to you. Or maybe it's 2 a.m. and you're trying to fall asleep and somehow your brain decides to bring up a conversation you had 3 years ago. You don't want to think about it, but you just can't help that. If that's you, I don't think you're simply overthinking. I think your brain believes it's investigating something important. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what it's looking for and how to finally stop getting trapped in the replay. All right, let's go. So what's actually happening in these moments? Your brain starts acting like a detective. It reviews every single sentence, every pause, every facial expression, every change in tone, every delayed response. And in doing that, you're collecting evidence. Oh, they sounded different. Oh, I talked too much. I shouldn't have said that. They're upset. Now I embarrassed myself. Then you replay the conversation again and again, because your brain believes the next replay, no matter how many times it takes, will finally uncover the missing clue. It believes that once the mystery is solved, you'll finally feel at peace. Most people call this overthinking. And I don't, because overthinking sounds like a bad habit. This feels so much deeper than that. This feels compulsive, like your brain just refuses to close the case until it finds the answer. And the problem is, it's investigating the wrong thing. Your brain isn't asking what happened. It's asking, am I still safe? Safe in this relationship? Safe from rejection? Safe from embarrassment? Safe from losing that important connection to me? That's why your brain doesn't obsess over every part of the conversation. It just zooms in on the moments that feel significantly emotionally important. The awkward pause, the delayed reply, the sentence you wish you hadn't have said, all of that becomes evidence. Most people think the conversation caused the anxiety, but I really don't think it did. I think it activated something that was already there. Maybe you grew up feeling like you had to read the room, or maybe love felt unpredictable, or criticism caught you off guard. Maybe making mistakes felt emotionally expensive. So your brain learned to adapt. It learned that if it analyzed people closely enough, you could stay one step ahead. That strategy probably protected you a few times, but now it's running automatically. That's why today's conversation feels so much bigger than it actually is. You're not replaying today's interaction. Your brain is actually trying to solve an old fear with new evidence. So what do you do about this? I'll tell you. The next time you catch yourself replaying a conversation, don't immediately ask, what did I say wrong? Pause, get curious, ask yourself, what answer am I desperately trying to find right now? Is it, do they still like me? Did I ruin everything? Am I enough? Am I about to be rejected? Okay? Then ask yourself something even deeper. If I found that answer, what would it mean about me? If they were annoyed, would that really mean that you're unlikable? If they took longer to reply, does that automatically mean that they're pulling away? Or is your brain filling in the blanks with an old story? What evidence am I ignoring because it doesn't fit the story I'm telling myself? Have I assumed their thoughts without actually knowing them? Is the fear based on what happened today, or is it something I've experienced before? Then ask yourself one final question. What if my brain isn't remembering the conversation? It's remembering an old wound, because that is the shift. You're no longer trying to solve today's interaction. You're trying to protect yesterday's version of yourself. The goal isn't to force yourself to stop thinking. The goal is to stop treating every anxious thought like it's evidence. When you stop trying to solve every conversation, you create the space to challenge the belief underneath it. I talk about the gap in some of my other videos. And that is where healing actually begins. And what happens if you don't heal this? Well, let me tell you. This is why this pattern means so much, because replaying conversations isn't just something you do. It's something that slowly shapes the way that you live. You start editing yourself before you speak. You become hyper aware of everyone's reactions. You avoid difficult conversations because you're already exhausted thinking about the last one. And you begin to people please to avoid having another conversation to replay. You apologize for things that you don't need apologizing for. You stay small because it feels safer than risking rejection. And eventually you stop asking, what do I actually think? And you start asking, what will make everyone else comfortable? If this is resonating with you, make sure you check out my next video about people pleasing. It goes way more in depth. Anyways, that is just a heavy way to live, okay? And most people don't even realize this habit is quietly stealing their confidence. So what does the healing actually look like? Healing doesn't mean you'll never replay another conversation. It means the replay loses its power over you. You'll still have moments where your brain says, wait, what if they meant something else by that? But instead of believing every thought, you become curious about it. You'll notice, my brain is looking for danger again. You'll recognize the old story before it becomes today's reality. You'll stop treating every awkward silence as a rejection. You'll stop assuming delayed responses mean people are automatically upset with you. And you'll stop needing constant reassurance that you're okay. And something awesome starts to happen when you recognize this. You become so present in conversations instead of performing in them. You stop trying to be a perfect version of yourself and you start becoming an authentic version of yourself, because confidence isn't never saying the wrong thing. Confidence is knowing that one awkward sentence doesn't determine your worth. One delayed text doesn't determine your value, and one conversation does not determine who you are. The goal was never to become someone who never makes mistakes. The goal is to become someone who knows that they're so worthy even when they do. Guess what that is? That's freedom. If this video helped you understand yourself a little better, that's exactly what this channel is about. Every week we go beyond surface level self-help and uncover hidden beliefs driving the behaviors that keep us stuck. Whether that's people-pleasing, perfectionism, fear of rejection, emotional reactivity, or patterns like the one we talked about today. So if you're ready to stop treating the symptoms and actually heal the root, I'd love to have you here. So make sure you subscribe because we've got a lot more to unpack together. And I think the next videos are going to connect even more dots for you. And if you're wondering where to start, you need to download my free workbook below. It'll help you identify the hidden beliefs your mind has been operating from so you can stop living on autopilot and start rewriting those stories. Because the goal isn't to become someone who never overthinks. It's to become someone who no longer needs fear to feel safe. I hope this video helped, and if it did, I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye now.